Good morning, Radioland. I'm Mateo Rosiles, the opinions editor here at the Daily Toreador, and you're listening to the Matador Beat. And today I'm joined with
Autumn Bippert, the multimedia editor.
Natalie Cervantes, the features editor.
And Zach Richards, the sports editor.
And today we're talking about all things COVID and what's coming up in sports this week. So let's start off this podcast with the recent news that Tech has come out with, which is the COVID-19 video that a young woman here at Texas Tech, or somewhat affiliated with Texas Tech, had posted on her Snapchat. For those who haven't seen that video, it is with this girl who's been at a party with some alcoholic beverages, and she says the F word, saying that everyone has COVID at that party or even at the university. It made headlines. It even went to TMZ. So, Zach, how did you feel like when you saw that video?
As a student at Texas Tech, it kind of made me feel bad because it reflected bad on the university. But also as a student at the university, it made me feel kind of bad because it shows how careless some people are. And it's just a bad look on everybody.
Mm-hmm, I definitely agree. And Natalie?
Kind of like how Zach said, it's like a disappointment it reflects poorly on Texas Tech and everything like that.
Autumn, do you think Tech needs to address this in some way, form, or fashion? I know they've given out statements, but those statements haven't been really...
I mean, the Dean of Students has come out and said that they were aware of the video and were investigating. But, I mean, most universities, when something like this happens, they address what steps they did take. And I feel like Texas Tech is just keeping all of that private. I'd like to know what steps they did take to handle the situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's also crazy that we made it to TMZ.
For TMZ to pick up on something Tech's done is not a very good look for us.
It's definitely not usually in a good way if TMZ's talking about your university, especially here.
Yeah, I just don't know how to feel about it, just because it's very disappointing because it's a Tech student that represents is now becoming the face of Tech for COVID. And it's sad because it's not the positive messages we want to give out there. Speaking of COVID and the cases, this week we broke 1,000 cases on campus. I know about half of them are recovered, but still more than a good chunk of that is still active.
Yes.
Which is really heartbreaking because I was hoping that we would at least have it somewhat under control. Zach, how do you think Tech is handling the COVID cases with breaking 1,000 this week?
I mean, I see what they're doing on campus. Just walking around campus, I see a lot of the implementations that they've been doing. And I think it can only go so far, though, because most people after freshman year live off campus. You know, there's nightlife, there's everything out in Lubbock, and Texas Tech literally just can't handle what people do off of campus. So I think a good amount of the cases are a result of what students are doing off campus, but also... Tech just can't control it. So it's kind of unfortunate, but it kind of just is what it is. I mean, they're doing a lot of stuff on campus that I like, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because I think President Skumnick said over the past couple days or in a recent city conference that most of these cases are coming from people that live off campus and they really can't control off campus. But at the same time, Tech can implement more steps. That's how I feel, is that Tech can implement more steps in helping mitigate these off-campus parties that are growing by the numbers. I mean, you can literally look up social media and Texas Tech and see a lot of house parties packed. Literally, people packed like sardines in these cramped rooms, drinking alcohol in middle of a pandemic. I mean, I feel like Tech needs to get a little bit more aggressive in their approach with this. Like, no more nice guy, no more second chances. I think Texas Tech needs to really up their game. How do y'all think?
I agree. I think also that they should partner or try to get in cahoots with the city of Lubbock and maybe some of the off-campus housing that they do, because I know I live off campus and they've done some stuff with the amenities like the weight rooms and the pools and stuff to kind of help. So I think that if Tech just reached out or kind of spoke to city of Lubbock officials or just anybody like that, it could kind of bring the numbers down a little bit or help out a bit.
It's good that Tech opened the testing sites outside and then moved them inside because of our weather this week.
Yes, this week has been a crazy week for weather. But yeah, I think the only thing about the testing centers that I would have a problem with at this point is that we need to get our results faster.
Yeah,
Because-
it's a 2 to 3 day wait.
Mm-hmm. And like that wait literally hurts students in the classroom, not knowing if I can even go to class or if I have to sit on Zoom, and then it also puts a pressure on this faculty and staff here on campus, because now they have to accommodate, okay, well this student's out, so I have to log on to Zoom to make them a profile. Okay, wait, are they positive? Are they negative? They never get back to me. It's just a lot more pressure than it's like. I think tech just needs to address it in a better way and get those test results faster, even though I know rapid testing is at an all-time low and being reserved for very select few like athletes, especially for the medical community here in Lubbock, with both hospitals having to use those rapid tests for emergency rooms and all that. But I just feel like tech needs to figure out a way to make those tests more available more rapidly.
Do you think that partying is the only issue with COVID cases rising?
Definitely not. I mean, we've heard students going to class after getting tested, even though the protocol is that you get tested, you go into quarantine until you get your test results back. But yet they still come to the campus, they still go to classrooms, they still go to work.
They still live in the dorm.
Mm-hmm. And yes, I guess over the past couple of weeks, have allegedly heard that some students aren't being looked after as well in the dorms. We don't have enough information on that yet to fully make a statement about that, or I know in the coming weeks we'll have some stories about that. So stay tuned onto the Daily Torador website. But I know we're starting to see a lot of videos, a lot of TikToks, a lot of Snapchats of students getting care packages. I know, Natalie, you first mentioned it to all of us on TikTok that students got care packages. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I talked to hospitality, and this will be coming in a story for Wednesday. But I talked to hospitality, and they said that students receive, once they have tested positive for COVID and are put into housing isolation, they receive a hydration pack, which is what we saw in the TikTok. It is like just a bunch of waters, a bunch of like little snacks, some protein snacks and everything like that. And then also while they're in isolation they get like 3 meals a day. No, 2 meals a day. I'm sorry. They get 2 meals a day. And yeah, that's what they get.
And
That's a lot better than what happened at NYU.
I think the only thing tech is facing, I guess the main problem tech is facing right now is that too many cases are coming at them all at once. And it's just kind of scary, because it's like tech kept saying that they were ready to open. They had their plans, they had everything, but yet, to me at least, it feels like they are hiding behind a wall saying like, oh, we have this covered, we got this in plan, we got this in place, but yet at the same time we see so many, I wouldn't call it failures, but like missteps in this whole COVID process of reopening campus that is just like, okay, did you really think about this predicament? Did you really think about the situation?
Well, what doesn't make sense to me is in March, when there were no cases in Lubbock at all, they were like, everyone go home, it's not safe, don't come back. But now that there's all these cases in Texas, in the Lubbock area, in all major cities, they're like, okay, just resume our normal classes and everything will be fine. Obviously, it's not fine.
Yeah, and definitely we can see that in all aspects of Texas Tech campus life, especially sports, with all the protocols that they had to implement this weekend for the game day. And I know, Zach, you can be writing a guest column in my section about how it was like to be a reporter at the stadium. And I know other staff members of yours are going to write how it was to be a fan at the game. So it's going to be really interesting to see how students participated in a game, especially with UT being our next big game, the biggest game I would have to say of any athletics here on campus in this coming week. How did you think that tech, or when seeing the protocols, what did you think about that?
Well, In terms of within the program, I thought the protocols are really good. The players get 3 tests a week. They social distance. They, do all of their a good amount of their meetings on Zoom. They're trying to do everything they can because when you think about it, they have a reason. They have a reason to try to not, be positive or, social distance. They have a reason. They want to go to the NFL. They want to have a season. They want to do all that. They have a motivation to do it. So I think just in general, most people that have a motivation will do the right thing when it comes to COVID-19. And I think that a lot of the medical professionals and everything that have been in line with Tech have helped out a lot. In terms of Tech athletics in regard to like fans and staff and everything, there has been a lot of changes in protocols to help, limited capacity, even reporters inside of the box. They've limited a lot of the reporters in the box. Not a lot have gotten seats compared to last year, which I think is good. They're promoting social distancing. All of that stuff is just really, really good. I think they're doing the right thing. I hope it works out for Tech and Tech athletics.
And we'll definitely see in your columns. Okay, and perfect. So I guess my next topic is, how do we have you gotten any news on how basketball is going to look this year?
I have not. There's been propositions by the NCAA and multiple coaches around. They've had meetings and stuff trying to. One of the biggest propositions has been a bubble, an NBA style bubble, but obviously that's a far stretch. Even in the NBA, it took a while. A lot of the money, a lot of time, a lot of effort went into the NBA bubble, like months and months of work. But I think honestly, with the success of the NBA bubble, it's been going on for months and they still have not received a positive case and the season's almost over. So I think that's about as safe of an environment as you can get in terms of basketball. So do I think the NCAA will try to go forward with something like that? I think so. But I think the only issues will be money, time, travel, just stuff like that, because the NBA has only a handful of teams in the bubble and a handful of, reservations in different hotels. But obviously when it comes to the NCAA, there's hundreds of teams in Division I, Division II, all of that. So it's just a lot of moving parts. But unlike the NBA, they have time. And they've seen a working progress. So I think a bubble would be the most likely bet. But, you never know. Obviously, they can go in a football direction and just, be grateful enough where they can get rapid tests and quick tests and access to a lot of tests and just kind of keep the players socially distanced and up to date and make sure they're negative and just go out and play that way. But, it just depends on what the NCAA thinks. There's just a lot of moving variables, but we'll see.
And I encourage our readers or our listeners to go and read your staffer's Ryan Mainville opinion about how it would look if we did go into that bubble style, because I really enjoyed it. It's probably like one of my favorite columnists so far, or columns right now, just because it's really interesting. It's dealing with like a hard topic that still we don't have a lot of word on.
Exactly.
Next topic is Tech in the news, which is getting a lot of traction, a lot, I wouldn't say hate, but a lot of backlash about everything going on in Tech. I guess it's just kind of disheartening to be, I wouldn't say a student like associated with Tech, because I love Tech. I love everything we stand for, but at the same time, it's just disheartening to see how much backlash we're getting as a university. And I really don't want this to be our legacy for the next 20 to 30 years. I don't want the textbooks to remember us as Texas Tech failing to reopen and didn't care about students' safety and well-being, because I definitely feel like Tech is doing what they can and what they should be doing to help protect us. But what do y'all think about Tech making news now more than ever?
Well, with like the COVID stuff, we're not the only school making news, so
no.
There's that. Yeah. But with all of the women's basketball and all of that, it's just like, it's not, like you said, I'm not ashamed, but it's definitely disappointing that this is what the whole world is seeing our school as, is problem after problem after problem, news article after news article after news article, and it's like, really? Like, this is the face that we're going to show everyone?
And exactly, it's like in the recent weeks we just had the ex-women's basketball coach now sue Tech for wrongful termination. And it's just kind of hard to see, because Tech is almost about to come out on its centennial birthday. It's about to turn 100 years old, and it's like we've been here for so long, yet we're getting hit after hit from a lot of things recently. And it's just kind of hard just because, like, I really hope my kids someday will come to tech. I really hope that tech is still here, still amazing as ever, and still a #1 Carnegie Mellon tier research school. Like, I want it to be everything that's positive and good in this world, but at the same time, it's just really hard to be proud sometimes.
Do you ever get any, like, ooh, let me start. Do you ever get any news articles sent to you by family and friends, like, and they're like, is
Yes.
this y'all?
Yes. Speaking of which, what is it? I have a cousin that is coming here. He's from Austin area, and it's just kind of weird to see, like, knowing that that family is seeing this side of tech, and it's like, okay, that's one face of tech. Tech is actually pretty amazing. Don't worry about your child coming here, because at the same time, it's like...
Yeah, that's not all that we represent.
Yeah.
I agree. And I honestly, I get stuff sent to me too by like literally my mom. So I know like usually a lot of the bad news circulates around social media like Twitter, Snapchat, which you would think the younger audience would see and like my friends my age, like 20-year-old would send. But the fact that it's reached, no offense, Mom, an older audience kind of worries me a bit because it makes me realize that it's on a bigger platform and on a bigger stage and a lot more people are seeing the bad stuff around tech. And unfortunately, bad news will always get circulated more than good news just because it's kind of, I don't want to say it's gossip, but it's kind of more interesting to hear about a downfall or something bad that's going on, unfortunately. So it's bad, but I mean, it makes it even worse that it's circulating around social media and stuff like that.
But the one thing that I didn't realize is because one of my columnists, Evan, he wrote an opinions article about, like, he went around to other people that go to other universities, such as UT, Louisiana University, and all of them, and actually asked the students, like, hey, what do you think about tech? Like, what's the first thing you think of when you think about tech? Mm-hmm. And surprisingly, it's not COVID-related. It's more or less the diversity issues that we have here, mm-hmm. which is still, like, really hard, but it's like, I guess that's where we're at in our society, is that we're still focusing on diversity. And yes, tech is, like I keep on saying, it's doing everything it can, but I feel like it can do more, especially with how some student orgs are working, how some student groups can have more of a voice and more of a say in some things and more of an input on how things are addressed or how things are run on the university. But it's just surprising that, like, we're not only known for COVID right now. I really hope that we don't become known for COVID, but only time will tell. Have you, Natalie, gotten any articles?
About?
Yeah, about anything. About Texas Tech, what?
Yeah, I do see, like, a lot of articles, like Zach was saying, like, my mom sends me some, and I'm like, ooh. And then there's TikToks about, you know, like we talked about earlier, the food packages, and about, there's even students, like, expressing their concern about COVID. Mm-hmm. What else have I seen?
It's actually pretty funny because, like, I've been going to tech this is my third year now. Yes, I'm a junior. So this is my third year. I've been on TikTok for a little bit, for a good over a year now, I think. At first, I never had anything Texas Tech related on my TikToks. Like, yes, I have, like, one of the big TikTokers who goes to tech appear on my page, but that's about it. Now it seems like every time I open up the app, it's someone talking about tech.
Yep.
And it's just like, I really hope this isn't just me, or like, I just hope it's this area or those students associated with tech that's getting these, but it's also kind of scary to see, like, okay, is this what other colleges are saying about us? Is this what they're thinking about tech right now? Is this, like, I don't know, it's just weird. So our next topic is study abroad. We just got word that last semester in spring 2020, they had to send over 100 students home from all the different places like Seville and Costa Rica, or not Costa Rica, but other study abroad locations that Tech offers. But now they are planning on returning this coming spring semester in 2021 in hopes that they can offer these locations again back to students amidst the pandemic. So I guess that's all the news that we have. So Natalie, what do you have planned for this week?
This week, there will be a TikTok profile on that girl that had the hydration pack, as hospitality would like to call it. And I also we have coverage of the tailgating.
So be sure to watch out for Natalie's stuff. Zach, what do you have this coming week for his sports?
Yeah, so we have a lot of sports starting in football. We have soccer starting in volleyball. We're going to have soccer starting off their season against Baylor on September 18th after their first game against Kansas State got postponed. And then a little later in the month, we have volleyball on the weekend of September 24th and 25th going against West Virginia to start their season off.
So please stay tuned to Zach's section as he's covering all things Texas Tech sports and following their journeys.
What does Autumn have?
What do you have?
We'll cover some events happening on campus. Radar Rundown comes out today. So you can catch up on the news from the last week. And yeah.
Okay, perfect. And I know for my sections, it's going to be sports dominated just because of the different changes to this year's sports. So be sure to look out for opinions from Zach and his staff on my section. And I'll also be constantly posting opinions from my own staff and myself online at the Daily Torador. Well, that is all the time we have today, Red Raiders. Thank you for listening to the Matador Beat. Be sure to pick up your copy of the Daily Torador at the local newsstands and on Thursdays. Visit our website at thedailytorador.com to stay up to date on all breaking news, all sports, and all features happening on campus and around the city. I'm Mateo, and I'll catch you next time. Remember, strive for honor evermore. Long live the Matadors. Wreck 'em.